You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
You are watching the leaders in full immersion gaming, and this is the pregame show only on the NBL Network.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the NBL Live pregame show. It's brought to you each and every week by our graphic sponsor, Web3ks.com. Big shout out to all the work that Web3ks does with us. They do a ton of graphics for the entire NBL network. So if you or anyone you know needs graphics done for an affordable price, head over to Web3ks.com. They are the leaders in affordable graphic design. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my man, Sonny Weaver. Sonny, we got a great game, divisional matchup, Lions and Vikings tonight. If I sound a little tired, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired from all that moving. Moving sucks, and I think it's the worst thing in the world. I mean, like, behind, I don't know, cancer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that made using like 5 straight playoff games in the first round. There's quite a few things I'd put above moving.
But movie's no fun. But we're back on. We got the face cam back on, and we are live on Twitch once again over at twitch.tv/NBL Network. Give us a follow over there so you know each and every time we go live, and of course live on YouTube at youtube.com/Madden Bomber League. Now, before we get to talking about the game today, again, Lions and Vikings, great matchup here on NBL Live. Let's talk for a second about an NBL Live schedule change. This is the old schedule, throwing this bad boy up. You will notice our next game was supposed to be the Raiders and the Broncos next week. We are going to move that to a bye. We'll have no stream next week, mostly because we have that Super Bowl. That Super Bowl, Sonny, I think a couple people are going to be watching that one.
There's probably a few less people that watch the NBL Super Bowl, but it's pretty close. We don't want to conflict with them.
Yeah, so we're going to move that game to a bye. That Week 13, though, is going to be an NBL Live game. And the game we are looking at is the Chargers and the Steelers facing off in Week 13. There are a couple great matchups. Chargers, Steelers, I believe the Lions are playing the Packers. Patriots are playing the Chiefs. Week 13 looks chock full of games, but headlined by that Chargers-Steelers game. That one, if we're able to put that one on NBL Live, Sonny, that should be a great matchup.
It's going to be a big one. That's going to be it could be basically for all the marbles when it comes to the AFC.
Todos los marbles, as they say down south. So, again, a scheduling change. Yeah, we will not have a game next week here on NBL Live, so enjoy the Super Bowl, but know that Week 13 we will have a game, and we'll have games till Week 17, and then, of course, every week of the playoffs. So, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, so you know when we are live. All right, let's take a look at the players to watch in today's game. First on the side of the Minnesota Vikings, you got Xavier Rhodes, and he's having a nice season. 2 picks, 6 passes deflected, 1 defensive touchdown. Sonny, I think the interesting thing the Bombers are going to have to deal with today is whether to throw at Xavier Rhodes, because I'm not quite sure. These numbers are a little lower than normal. His tackle numbers are right, but he doesn't have as many interceptions. I think that's because there are more and more people realizing how good Xavier Rhodes is and throwing away from him.
Xavier Rhodes is a solid cornerback in NBL. I wouldn't call him elite. I'd say he's a guy that if I had a choice, I wouldn't throw necessarily at. When we get to talking here in a second about Brad Kaya, I think what you're trying to do is limit his exposure. Obviously, when you're looking at this Minnesota defense, turnovers are an issue. You do not want to give this defense a lead to kind of come back from. So any sort of turnovers here, specifically anything to Xavier Rhodes, could be going back for 6. I think you're going to avoid him tonight. I expect that to be the Detroit Lions plan.
On the flip side, it is, of course, Brad Kaya getting the start. Matt Stafford injured earlier this season. He is coming in. He's having a nice season, though, in limited duty. He's completing 77% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Stafford out for a little bit longer. Also, the injury to Harvey Beckham. I don't believe we're going to see him today, but Brad Kaya has filled in admirably, but he's got a tough task today because for the last couple of seasons, Sonny, the Minnesota Vikings have had the Detroit Lions number.
Brad Kaya is a solid backup, but one thing you've got to realize is he's kind of been hit or miss so far this year. 2 starts, kind of a dominating performance against Indy. That was the bounce back game we saw from Tennessee. And then you get this Atlanta-Detroit debacle where he was only 12 for 21, and 57% passer is not going to get it done. Detroit relies on a heavy passing attack. Little concern tonight. I think this team basically goes as Brad Kaya goes. If he throws for more than 65% tonight, I think the Lions win.
All right, well, let's put your money where your mouth is. Get your predictions in the chat, folks. We'll be reading those throughout the first quarter. Sonny, who do you like in this one? The Vikings have had the upper hand the last couple of matchups, including 2 wins over the Vikings last season, but Detroit has been playing hot since then, even with the injuries to Matt Stafford and Harvey Beckham. This is a potent team. Who do you like in this divisional matchup?
The Vikings won with Matthew Stafford in. The Vikings, I think, win without Matthew Stafford. I think they start turning it around. Like I said, the struggles last week in Atlanta kind of scare me. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Minnesota Vikings win this one 21-14.
21-14, the prediction from Sonny Weaver. Get your predictions in the chat. We'd love to read those out throughout the first quarter, but it's time to get to the ball game, folks. We appreciate you tuning in to the NBL Live pregame show, but let's get down to the action. Coming up next, it's a battle between 2 of the real rivals here in the NBL in that NFC North. The Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. They know each other well. Should be a great matchup, and it's coming up right now here on NBL Live.
My name is Rex Dixon.
Craig Stein.
Clint from EA Sports.
You're watching NBL.
You're watching the NBL Network. And you're watching the MBLN Network.
Empty backfield for Atkins. He's been dropping back to pass here on 4th down. He's looking deep over the middle. He has a man. It's Brandon Cooks who catches it, makes a man miss.
Oh, that's
Woodard is dropping back. He's got open over the middle.
Wow.
That big playmaker ability as he finds him again.
Into the end zone. Another touchdown. NBL Live action is right here on the network, live on YouTube and on Twitch at twitch.tv/NBL Network. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you tuning in to NBL Live. We got a great matchup for you tonight. It's the 7-1 Detroit Lions facing off against the 5-3 Minnesota Vikings. I'm Mo Shu. I'm hanging out with my man Sonny Weaver. Sonny, looking in the chat, a lot of people going Detroit. We got Dewey_DEC going 27-21. I really hate Mark 34-24 Lions, but a couple people picking the Vikings deck at 27-24. That's a curse if I've ever heard one. A lot of the reason people are picking these Minnesota Vikings, though, is the play of their young quarterback, Jack Gerberry.
Gerberry has been an explosion here for this Minnesota offense. They've struggled in years past passing the ball. He's come in and really put them in a more balanced offense. You got Dalvin Cook back there, obviously, but Gerberry has allowed them to kind of even it out. Now, we talked about it coming into the game. Minnesota's offense isn't so much what I'm kind of gauging this game on. It's going to be Detroit and their offense. So this is going to be a big drive coming up here for Brad Kaya.
And Brad Kaya and the Detroit Lions get no Matt Stafford out with an injury. He has taken the helm of this team and is looking to lead them to another victory. Lions sitting there at 7-1 atop the NFC North as the tight end goes in motion from the right side over to the left. And on 1st and 10, it's going to be a handoff over the left side up to the 29-yard line. That's P.J. Albury, and Albury's had a real nice season so far for Detroit. The Lions, not a team known for their rushing attack, but Sonny, these Detroit Lions with the injury to Matt Stafford have been relying more and more on that ground game.
They're going to have to lean on it a lot tonight without Brad Kaya. Watch for Albury to get 20-plus carries tonight.
2nd and 6 for the Detroit Lions. Kaya under center, I formation. He's got Golden Tate and Montgomery out there. Timeout called by the Lions already. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and this is really I mean, there is no right answer. I think there are arguments to both sides, but which injury do you think is more key to the Lions? The fact that they don't have Matt Stafford or the fact they don't have Harvey Beckham?
It's Matthew Stafford. Harvey Beckham's just a piece. He's a system wide receiver, and I know I'll get roasted for saying that by Bomber later, but it doesn't matter who you run out there. They're going to put up yards, but Matthew Stafford is the engine that makes that go.
2nd and 6 for the Lions. Kaya under center. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. As Kaya is going to drop back to pass for his first pass attempt of the game on 2nd and 6. Down goes Kaya. Flag on the play. And it's a hold against Greg Robinson. He held the guy who was still going to get in the backfield and sack Kaya. They decline it. Going to take the 3rd and 12. This Minnesota defensive line is hungry and wants to get to the young quarterback and rattle him early.
And me and you have talked about this before. If you're going to hold somebody and you're going to get flagged anyways, you can't let them hit the quarterback. Tackle them, bring them down, but at least show some respect to your quarterback and take them out.
Now a 3rd and 12 and a big 3rd and 12 for the Lions looking to, they're so good at getting early points. They want to keep this early momentum. Brad Kaya in the shotgun. He's got Albury to his right. He's got 3 wide receivers, 2 over to the left side, 1 over to the right side, and 1 tight end on the right side of that formation, as well as the play clock ticking down. It's going to be Kaya dropping back to pass. He looks down the middle of the field, and that seam route was wide open. I don't know who was confused there. Looked like the tight end was lost. That pass falls incomplete, and Minnesota gets a huge 3 and out, something that is not easy to do against these Lions.
Yeah, and that's where you're missing Matthew Stafford. That would be an easy pass and catch there for Detroit if Matthew Stafford's in the game. And they're going to have to really think about how they're going to pass on these 3rd and long situations going forward.
4th down, the punt is away. Hutchins spin move. He's got some room on the left side. He's up past the 40, trying to make another man miss, but he'll go down to the 42-yard line. Now we get to see Jack Gerberry and this Minnesota Vikings offense. Defense has been a little more of a question mark for the Vikings, Sonny, but there's no question how good this Minnesota Vikings offense is.
Yeah, and it still runs through Dalvin Cook in the running attack. Look for Dalvin Cook to get a lot of carries tonight, especially if they get up early here on Detroit.
It's going to be Gerberry under center, 2 wide receivers, Dalvin Cook in at halfback. And on 1st down, it's a handoff to Cook, who cuts it back outside. A lot of movement, but only going to get 2 yards on the play. If there's one criticism of Dalvin Cook Sunday, I think it is his ability to bounce it outside. He likes to do that a lot, and sometimes he misses the holes up the middle.
Yeah, he just hit the complete break, 90-degree turn, run left. That was an interesting decision there by Dalvin Cook.
Now 2nd and 8 for the Vikings. They're on the 44-yard line. Gerberry, he'll be in the pistol formation with Cook behind him. Bunch formation, 3 over to the right side, 1 over to the left. That's Stephon Diggs, still the number 1 wide receiver here in Minnesota. As Gerberry looking, he's going to hit Turner in the flat. It was the 1st down and more up to the 43-yard line. Jack Gerberry, he's been a real nice addition to this team. Minnesota had a lot of question marks at the quarterback position for so many seasons, and Gerberry has really come in and stabilized.
And we talked about that. Gerberry, he's not quite what I would call a game manager, but that's what he's been so far for Minnesota. I think he's going to develop into being a top young talent. But right now, he's just not making a lot of mistakes, and that's been huge for this Minnesota offense.
Yeah, the rookie out of Florida State playing in his 1st season here in Minnesota. 1st and 10. Gerberry's going to drop back to pass. Once again, looking. He has the tight end open in the seam. Showing Brad Kaya how to throw that seam route. It is complete to the 13-yard line. Gerberry on the season is completing 68% of his passes. 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Averaging 9.8 per completion. So working a lot underneath. So that one of his deeper throws you're going to see today. Let's see if they keep trying to push it downfield throughout the game. As it's a 1st and 10. Gerberry under center. He's got Cook in the backfield. Diggs alone to the left. Smith-Schuster on the right side. Hodges, the tight end, also on the right side of that formation. On 1st and 10, it's going to be a pitch to Dalvin Cook, who looks surprised to get it for a moment. He's going to be taken down inside the 15-yard line, right back to the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Dalvin Cook seemed absolutely baffled that he was getting the ball.
He hit the brakes, kind of similar to that first run, except this time he wasn't turning it towards the sideline. That was kind of the plan from the start. Just a weird exchange there.
2nd and 10, as it's going to be Gerberry under center. Diggs to the left, Smith-Schuster to the right. As it's going to be Gerberry dropping back to pass. He's going to hit Gates underneath on the little Texas route up to the 6-yard line. Quick throw by Gerberry gets him 8 yards on the play. And a huge 3rd and 2. Minnesota wants to get 6 on this drive and stay ahead of the clock.
And right here, 3rd and 2. This is a big run here. Expected Dalvin Cook handoff, probably something towards the edge. If you're Detroit, you got to blitz those edges and try to get them in the backfield.
Jag14 now following right here on Twitch. Appreciate you, Jag. Appreciate all of our followers here on the NBL Network. 3rd and 2 I formation for Jack Gerberry and the Minnesota Vikings. It's going to be a handoff to Davis, who just walks his way into the end zone. The blocking was so good on the right side. No Dalvin Cook, but Davis finds the end zone, and Minnesota goes up early after the early 3-and-out. They're up 7-0. The home crowd is raucous here in Minnesota.
Yeah, it was just a weird shift there by Detroit's defense. It looked like they bunched the middle and they took off their edge contained by bunching them, and just really not sure what happened down there.
Mike Davis, the 5th-year player out of South Carolina, with the touchdown. That is his first on the season. Limited duty, only 12 carries so far, but that 13th one, it's a big one as Minnesota goes up 7-0. Now Detroit coming back out, and Sonny, to put this lightly, that was not the drive that Bomber wanted to see on that first one. A sack and a real bad misplay there on the seam route. What are you looking for them to do on this drive?
I expect them to try to get the running game going with Albury, but obviously that's not working too well there on that one. So at this point, I think what you got to do is work the underneath. Kai had 10 yards plus downfield is not what he's good at. Try to work the underneath, try to get some drags, some inward breaking routes. We normally see a lot of that from Detroit on their first drive of the game. A lot of drags, a lot of crosses early in the game to get comfortable. We haven't seen that yet here from Detroit.
PJ Albury, 96 carries, 375, averaging almost 4 a carry and 9 touchdowns, which is the surprising part. They've been using him in the red zone a ton. 2nd and 12 for Kai in the lines, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and it's going to be Brad Kai dropping back to pass here on 2nd and 12. Looks over to the left side. It is complete underneath. Brad Kai putting that one out in space and letting the big tight end die for it. That's Rob Gronkowski using every bit of his 6'7" frame.
Right, the Gronk there with the big diving catch, trying to make Kaya look a little more accurate than he was there. The drag was actually open as well, so Kaya just sits there and waits. He's going to have some open guys run free.
Now a 3rd and 2, and Kai's going to spread it out. 4 wide receivers, 2 to each side. Gronkowski standing up on the right side of that formation. Kaya dropping back to pass on 3rd down, and Brad Kaya airmails that one. Boy, that's not Matt Stafford out there. If anybody was confused, that's Brad Kaya throwing the ball. Another misplay on a ball downfield. He starts out the game 1 for 3 with 2 real missed throws.
And this is what we were talking about earlier. You have got to adjust your game plan. Matthew Stafford can hit those seam routes. Brad Kaya cannot. 10-plus yards down the field is not his strength. Got to start working underneath, and you're going to have to make that decision here quickly because Minnesota goes on another big drive here, and it may be too much for Brad Kaya to overcome.
A lot of people in the chat talking about that one. Decadog saying Kaya better settle down. Pricey saying Kaya shook. So a lot of comments on Brad Kaya. Let's see if he settles down throughout the season or throughout this game as Jack Gerberry comes out on 1st and 10. Blitz picked up perfectly, and Gerberry doing his best Brad Kaya impression. He had guys open all over the place. The routes were picked up, or excuse me, the blitzers were picked up. They had man coverage on the outside, but Gerberry just couldn't make the connection.
Well, what you got is you ended up getting double teams because we only had 3 routes running. So some of those guys that were picked up as blockers end up becoming secondary defenders.
Now 2nd and 10, I formation for Gerberry and the Minnesota Vikings. Looks like it's going to be a handoff to Davis. So he cuts it back up the middle, 3 yards on the play. I don't know if something happened to Dalvin Cook, but we're seeing a whole lot of Mike Davis after that touchdown. They give him another touch, cuts it to a 3rd and 6.
I got to wonder if somebody hasn't told Mike Davis to come out of the game yet. If maybe Dalvin Cook pulled something, tough to say, but seen a lot of them.
Now a 3rd and 6 for the Minnesota Vikings as Dalvin Cook into the game now to the left of Jack Gerberry. He's got 3 wide receivers, 2 to the left, 1 over the right, 1 tight end on the right side of that formation. Play action pass, Gerberry dropping back, and he's going to hit Cook in the flat. But Cook cannot make a play. Good open field tackle. Minnesota's going to punt this one away. And after they had some success pushing it downfield, Sonny, especially on that seam route, they go real conservative here and decide to stay underneath. And Minnesota's forced to punt this one away on a 3-and-out.
And right there, that is on Gerberry. He didn't lead Dalvin Cook. He made Cook have to turn around and come back to the ball. He leads Cook there. He's got a little bit better chance of maybe picking that up. But when he had to stop and change his momentum, it was basically a dead play at that point.
Good field position now for the Detroit Lions. They're up to the 37-yard line after that nice punt return. 7-0 your score, folks. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in here live on Twitch at twitch.tv/NBL Network. And also, of course, over on our YouTube, youtube.com/Madden Bomber League. Be sure to follow both places. We'll have streams on both.
Oh, that's bad.
As that one thrown underneath, and it's picked off by Smith. And Smith, well, it looked like he could have gone to the end zone, but his knee hit the ground. But the first turnover of the game, and Brad Kaya starts out 1 for 4. with the interception. Looking a little bleak in Detroit right now. Is this crowd going wild in Minnesota?
That would be a bad play there by Brad Kaya. Obviously, they heeded the words here of Sonny Weaver, and they started trying to throw underneath, but unfortunately, you can't throw underneath to a covered receiver, or else you end up getting pick sixed.
Well, lucky that knee hit the ground because Smith was gone. It's on 1st and 10. It's Gerber dropping back to pass. He looks over to the left side, has a man. It's the tight end, Hodges. First down and more. And Bucky Hodges, he's going to get to the house. Touchdown, Vikings! They have stormed out to a 2-score lead. A little corner route to the big tight end, Bucky Hodges, and Jack Gerber, showing that he is one of the best young quarterbacks in the NBL, starting out 1 touchdown pass, but driving them down the field on 2 drives.
And right there, Gerber makes up for the bad drive last time through. Figures it out, finds the receiver, and Hodges does a good job there of stringing that play along rather than getting tackled at the 5, gets to the corner and makes that a touchdown. So Minnesota right now with the 14-point lead, and Brad Kaya standing across from the Vikings have got to be feeling pretty good right now at this.
Yeah, Bucky Hodges, the third-year player out of Virginia Tech, a real nice target for Jack Gerber. He's relied on that tight end to really get the tough yards on 1st and 10. It's Brad Kaya under center, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. He's got P.J. Albury in the backfield, and on 1st down, it's a play-action pass. Kaya going to be throwing it once again. They're trusting him to throw, and he misses another receiver, another wide-open one, 1 for 5, and the question becomes, do they have another quarterback on their bench? Because so far, Brad Kaya, not accurate by any stretch of the imagination.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Is there another quarterback on this roster? Because right now, Brad Kaya just does not have it.
Well, let's take a look. Let's pull up that roster. Let's see who they got. Let's pull up the depth chart. At quarterback, they've got Joey Vu, of course, is the next quarterback. Their rookie, drafted with Mr. Irrelevant pick last season. He would be next up on the list, 2nd and 10. Throw over the middle of the field, and good Lord, Brad Kaya finally found one of his own players. It is Rob Gronkowski once again. And if you're Minnesota, you got to think Gronkowski has to be doubled on every play, Sonny, because those are the reads that Kaya is making.
Yeah, those are the only completions he's made so far.
Now 1st and 10 for Kaya and the Lions. As Kaya's going to go out under center. 2 wide receivers, Tate and Montgomery over the left side. 2 tight ends on the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a toss play out. Trying to find some room on that right side. Not a whole lot there as Wilson gets the toss. 3 yards on the play. Going to bring up a 2nd and 7 for the Lions.
And right now, Brad Kaya needs something to happen in the running game. Somebody needs to help support this guy.
Yeah, this rushing game has to get going. Down 14-0 as we're nearing the end of the 1st quarter. It is Brad Kaya under center. He won't get the snap off as we'll go to the 2nd quarter. Your score 14-0. Minnesota on top. Sonny, apart from the score, we know you picked the Detroit Lions to win this game, but apart from the score, what part of this game?
Whoa. No, I didn't.
Well,
I picked the Minnesota Vikings. Okay. Let's make that very clear.
Well,
21-14 Vikings.
Well, what has surprised you in this 1st quarter?
Okay. Well, I didn't think Brad Kaya was going to have it today. I didn't think he was going to be this far off. So far, he is throwing like a guy who's not even a solid backup. He's throwing like a guy who probably shouldn't even be on a roster.
The 2nd and 7 for the Lions. Play action pass as Brad Kaya rolling out to the right side, looking for that deep crosser. And boy, a diving catch there by, it looked like that was Montgomery with the catch, down to the 25-yard line. Even when Kaya has been able to complete passes, Sonny, he has not been accurate. It has been required of these wide receivers and tight ends to make the spectacular catches.
Yeah, so far all of his completions has required the receiver to lay out to catch the ball, and that is not what you want because this offense is predicated on rack, and they're not getting any right now.
Yeah, now 1st and 10 for Kaya and the Lions. So they finally got something going on the offensive side of the ball. It's going to be a counter play for P.J. Albury, and boy, oh boy, that Minnesota defense was ready for that one. As it looks like Rick Wagner, he'll be coming back in the game. They sent the heat, and Detroit ran right into it with that slow developing counter play.
And that's unfortunate because as we've talked about this whole game, they need to find some semblance of a running attack. Right now, Minnesota doesn't even have to respect it. 3 rushes, -1 yards for Albury. Wilson's not much better. At this point, maybe Detroit starts to think about spreading the field out, using the underneath routes from maybe 4 and 5 wide receiver sets.
Now a 2nd and 13 for Detroit. Looking to get some sort of points. Certainly looking for 6 to cut into this Minnesota lead. They're up 14-0 right now. Pistol formation for Brad Kaya. Play action pass. They're looking for the quick screen. That is covered, so Kaya's going to have to take off. Look at him breaking tackles in the backfield, and he chucks this one out of bounds. The most accurate throw we have seen from Brad Kaya was that throwaway out of bounds, and now a 3rd and long for the Detroit Lions.
I think that was also the best run we've seen by a Lions player so far today.
That's not good. I don't think the Lions want either of those to be true. 14-0 your score. Minnesota on top. Detroit looking to climb their way back into this game, as it looks like it's going to be Brad Kaya breaking the huddle, and they're going to spread it out. They got a bunch formation, 3 over to the left side, 1 tight end. That is Cooper on the right side. They love Cooper as the tight end with Rob Gronkowski. And on 3rd and 13, looking, and down goes Kaya. Aqib Talib coming off the corner blitz, gets in the backfield, and takes down Brad Kaya for another sack. And now Detroit's going to have to go for the long field goal. This one, a 53-yard attempt. The kick is up. It is good. 3 points on the drive, but Sonny, man, these Lions look lost with Brad Kaya at quarterback.
It is not what we were hoping to see today. Minnesota, though, has been clicking, so this is a big drive coming up. 21-3, that would just be an insurmountable score here. So I'm not sure Detroit's had a bigger defensive stand so far this year than the one they're about to try to make right now.
Yeah, now the Minnesota Vikings, this would be huge for them to be able to not only go up 21-3, but really set the tone here at home, and then rely on that run game down the stretch, because you know if they get that early lead, it's going to be the Dalvin Cook show in the second half. So being able to get a score here instead of getting the ball back to Detroit would be huge, as Minnesota outgaining the Lions 95-45 early in this game. Pistol formation for Jack Gerberry. He's got Cook in the backfield on 1st and 10. Runs that little read option, didn't hand it off, and that was a mistake. Lost the 3 on the play. Going to bring up a 2nd and 13.
I'm just not a big fan of the option play, especially when so much is predicated on your quarterback actually being healthy. Minnesota's had the struggles of a hurt quarterback. I would not be having Gerberry take any extra hits than what he needs to take.
Dark Nation 612 joining us in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in, Dark Nation. Appreciate everybody tuning into MBL Live on 2nd and 13. Jack Gerberry dropping back to pass. He'll toss this underneath. It is Dalvin Cook open underneath, fighting forward near the 1st down marker. I think he's going to be just a hair short. He's going to bring up a 3rd and inches, and Minnesota does that well, Sonny. They love using Dalvin Cook out of the backfield and getting him lots of touches.
Anytime you get Dalvin Cook out on the edge, that's where you want him to be. So whether it's handing the ball off and letting him get to the edge or throwing it outside to him, that's where you want him in space against the cornerback's a good place for him to be.
K. Rhodes Eagles asking Eagles or Patriots for the Super Bowl. I just find it so hard to go against Big Game Tom. I don't like it, as this deep pass over the middle is complete to Stephon Diggs down to the 35-yard line. What a beautiful touch pass by Jack Gerberry, finding Diggs 7 of 8 to start this game. I think you have to go with the Patriots. I don't know. Sonny, what chance did you see the Eagles having this Sunday?
I think the biggest thing is they've got to get to Tom Brady. So if they can get to Tom Brady, and wow, bad throw there. They had the underneath route, chose to get greedy. But if you can get to Tom Brady and you can get him uncomfortable, we've seen it in Super Bowls past. Now, what you can't do is in the 4th quarter stop trying to get to Tom Brady and let him get comfortable, because we've seen him come back in those situations. But if you can disrupt Tom Brady, you've got a shot, and the Philadelphia Eagles actually have the ability to do that.
That Eagles defense is real tough. I think with Rob Gronkowski back, the edge is to the Patriots in Big Game Tom. But boy, if there was a game for Nick Foles to have a big one, as Gerberry dropping back to pass on 2nd and 10, and he's going to chuck this one away. I mean, I like Nick Foles. I mean, you're talking about a guy who had an unbelievable season. What was it, 3 seasons ago? It was unbelievable, has been sort of buried, had some bad games. Carson Wentz, I love Carson Wentz, but if there was a backup to have in the Super Bowl, Nick Foles isn't a bad option.
Yeah, Nick Foles, you could do a lot worse than Nick Foles as your backup quarterback. You could have Brad Kaya.
That would not be good. I would be saying no chance at that point. It's now a big 3rd and 10 for Gerberry and the Minnesota Vikings. 4 wide receivers, 2 to each side. Dalvin Cook in the backfield, and they're just going to hand this one off to Dalvin Cook right up the middle, and he's got the 1st down up to the 23-yard line. The Red Sea parted, and Dalvin Cook on 3rd and 10 took advantage. What a great check down by Jack Gerberry at the line, handing it off to their star running back, Dalvin Cook, and getting the 1st down.
Well, and it could have been worse there, except Cook ran into his own guy. He makes one more cut to the outside there, and he's gone.
Now Now 1st and 10 for the Minnesota Vikings. Gerber dropping back to pass on 1st down. Looks over the middle of the field. It's Turner. Oh, he had a touchdown, but the big hit in the secondary jarred that one free. And the Minnesota Vikings aren't able to get anything on that play. Going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
And that was a big drop there by Javonte Turner. He's kind of their speedster. They had him across the middle of the field there. Took that big hit. Expect maybe to get some more guys with some hands in there. More their reliable pass catchers down here inside the 20.
2nd and 10 for the Minnesota Vikings. Shotgun formation. 2 to each side for Jack Gerber. Dalvin Cook to his right here on 2nd and 10. From the 23-yard lines, we're nearing the 3-minute mark to go here in the first half. He was looking underneath for Stephon Diggs, who was wide open. Gerber got a little amped to see how open he was. And after starting 7 of 8, he's missed his last couple of passes.
Jack Gerber is doing his best Brad Kaya impression now. We're seeing some bad quarterback play here. And that's, Gerber has an occasional good throw like the one we saw that got blown up. But then he comes back and does that. So.
And now a 3rd and 10 for the Minnesota Vikings. Jack Gerber in the shotgun. He's got Hodges and Smith-Schuster over to the right side. Now bringing Hodges over to the left side with Stephon Diggs. Dalvin Cook and Mike Davis in at halfback, splitting Jack Gerber as he drops back to pass here on 3rd and 10. Looking. He's got a lot of time. Rolls out to the right side. Looking, and he takes the sack. Instead of chucking that one away, he let LeBounty get in the backfield. Only a loss of 2 on the play. Just nobody open downfield, and Jack Gerber, instead of taking off, took the sack. They're looking to just kick the field goal here from the 25-yard line. This one, it is blocked by the Lions and picked up by Teddy Bridgewater. He's going to run with this one up to the 29-yard line, but Detroit will get the ball back. Special teams making a play here for the Lions as they block the kick, and Minnesota gets nothing out of that drive.
And I think that maybe back-to-back weeks they've had blocks. I think they had one in Atlanta, too, that kind of saved them there. So maybe the tides are turning here for Detroit and this team.
Now a 1st and 10 for the Lions. Maybe a little boost to the confidence of young Brad Kaya as he's in the pistol formation. He's got 2 wide receivers out to the right side, 1 over to the left side. Kaya in the pistol. He's going to hand this one off. And there's a lot of room on that right side. Spinning off tacklers. Able to get to the 36-yard line is Wilson. Wonder what would have happened if Wilson stayed upfield instead of going outside. But he gets 7 yards on the play. The first real good rushing play from this Detroit Lions offense.
One of the first few good offensive plays we've seen by this Detroit Lions team. So 2:14 left in this game. Let's see if they can drive down the field. A touchdown here makes this an interesting game coming out of half.
2nd and 3 for the Lions as it's going to be empty backfield. 5 wide receivers, 2 over to the left, 3 over to the right. PJ Albury in the slot on the left side. Watch out for him as we hit the 2-minute warning. 14-3. Sonny, if you're the Lions, they need points. As the Jag 14 pointing out, they need points bad. Is a field goal acceptable on this drive before the half, or do you need 6 to feel good about yourself going into halftime?
Well, field goal still makes this a 1-score game, so you'll take any points. But obviously, you'd have a little more confidence in this offense if you come away with the touchdown.
Yeah, especially knowing that Minnesota's going to get the ball to start the second half. Pistol formation for Brad Kaya, PJ Albury on the back of. Looks like he's trying to look downfield. Boy, that was a lot of players in the backfield. That offensive line, Detroit's offensive line has been much maligned this year, Sonny. They have tried so many different combinations, moving players around. They're healthy, but it just seems like they're letting everybody in the backfield, and that's one thing you can't do with a young quarterback like Kaya in the backfield.
No, you can't do that at all, but what you got to do is you got to get rid of the ball. The swing route was open there for a second. It closed later on in the progression, and that's what Brad Kaya's got to do a better job of. He's got to see those things quicker if he wants to survive out here.
3rd and 11, shotgun formation for Kaya and the Lions. PJ Albury to his right. This is going to be Kaya driving back to pass here on 3rd down. Looking. He looks over to the right side. It's picked off by Minnesota as Kendricks jumped that one as Kaya tried to rival that one downfield. Kendricks lurking at the line, picks that one off. Great field position for the Vikings. And the collapse of the Detroit Lions with the loss of Matt Stafford is evident today in Minnesota.
And that one wasn't even a good attempt. He threw that right at Kendricks. I mean, maybe you thought you were going to get it over him, but even still, that was just a bad read there by Brad Kaya.
1st and 10 for the Vikings. It's going to be hand off Dalvin Cook over the left side. Counter play. He's got a lot of room. Shaking, bacon, stumbling into the end zone. One play later, the Vikings extend their lead to 20-3. Dalvin Cook on the counter play. The blocking was out there, and the extra point is up and good, and the route is on in Minnesota.
So, about that other quarterback here for Detroit.
You mean old Joey Vu?
I think it's about time.
I have talked to the owner of the Lions, Bomber. Not a big Joey Vu fan, but I think right now he's probably not a big Brad Kaya fan either.
I'm not a big Brad Kaya fan right now, and that's tough.
I'm not a big Brad Kaya fan either. It's 1st and 10. I formation. PJ Albury at the top of that. Two wide receivers out there. Now Detroit really needing points bad on this drive. Play action pass for Kaya rolling out to the right side. He's got a man open over there. Kaya misses him once again. 3 of 10, 57 yards, 2 interceptions. The Lions are in trouble, as pointed out by October in the chat. But I think everybody realized this at that point. And now, Sonny, does a field goal do anything for you on this drive?
I'm good. It's 6 or nothing here.
21-3. Lions on top. 3 wide receivers, 2 over to the right, 1 over to the left. PJ Albury in the backfield. Brad Kaya under center as he drops back to pass on 2nd and 10. Looks over the middle of the field, throws it directly to Sutton. It's picked up, and Sutton's got room on the right side. He's to the 20, to the 10. Touchdown, Vikings! The defense getting in on the scoring party here at US Bank Stadium as the Minnesota Vikings, the route is on, and I think Joey Vu time is about to be here in Detroit.
Boo.
I don't know if you're saying Vu or if you're booing Brad Kaya. Both are accurate, though.
It's both. It's great. It works both ways if you're Vu. You can call him booing you or calling your name.
Well, okay. I know you obviously you predicted the Minnesota Vikings, as I know that. I paid attention. I don't think anybody saw it going like this, though.
No, I would agree with you. This is not what you'd expect. So, you seen any good movies lately?
I actually just saw a movie today. I went and saw The Darkest Hour. Very good if you're into that sort of movie. Very good movie.
Which one? Which one's that?
It's the one about Winston Churchill. It's about Churchill
yeah.
And World War II. It was real good.
Okay.
You got to be into that sort of movie, though. I know there are a lot of people who aren't. It's a lot of talking. It's if you got to be a history buff to like that one. 1st and 10. Shotgun formation for, I believe, that is Joey Vu into the game as on 1st and 10. Rifling it underneath. It is complete. Yes, indeed. Joey Vu showing up for Detroit. And he already has 1/3 of the number of completions that Brad Kaya did for the Lions.
And one more accurate pass than Kaya through the whole game.
That is true. 2nd and 6. Joey Vu in the shotgun. He's got Albury to his left. Play action pass for Vu looking over to the right side. Okay, well, there's that. But
I mean, 50-50. There was some pressure on him there. Let's give him a break. There was some pressure.
Decadog in the chat saying Bomber going to get the having a tough game message. I think, can you only get that in the 1st quarter?
I don't know. We're going to find out, though, I think.
October saying Vikings doing exactly what they should do. Send the heat often. Oh, Mia, oh, Maya, oh, look at Brad Kaya. It was a rough game for old BK in the backfield as he threw a couple of picks. Couldn't get anything going, and it has Detroit in this 28-3 hole. Now Joey Vu, Mr. Irrelevant from the season 29 draft in at quarterback. Dropping back to pass here on 3rd and 6. Looking. The blocking is great. There's only 3 rushers set. He's going to just chuck this up to the left side, and Aqib Talib's going to come up with the pick at the 16-yard line. Oh, boy. Hey, Sonny, have you found any good movies to watch?
I haven't. You know, my wife rented one. I'm not sure what it is. I hope that once this slaughter is over, I can grab some pizza, go down and watch that with the wife. But, you know, we'll see. Maybe Bomber will make it interesting in the second half.
You can probably go get pizza now. Minnesota's just going to nail this one out, not get any injuries as we go into halftime. 28-3. Yeah, I could go for some food right now. I'd say we'd have bonus coverage because we do like having bonus coverage. But the only other game left is it's my game. So.
Well, you can turn it on and play while we're.
That's good. Yeah, I've always thought about that. Like, but right now I've got push to talk on, and I'm trying to think like I got to turn off push to talk, and then everyone would hear me swear on the NBL network, and that's no good. So can we talk about that football category in Jeopardy? Fun fact: I was watching that Jeopardy live because giant nerd, and I died when I saw it, and then I saw it got picked up by Barstool, and it was the funniest thing I ever watched.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Alex Trebek, I feel kind of bad for that guy because everybody just assumes that he only knew it because of the scorecards. But no, folks, normal people can name things like a fair catch.
Option. I understood them not getting the purple people leaders. I got that one.
Yeah, that one was kind of tough.
That's a tough question, but the other one's fair catch. I mean, just throw a guess out there. I'm just saying, just throwing out there. Difficult to watch my dog struggle, but just means Kai is done in Detroit. He's gonna get a legit backup quarterback. Will they? It's just that insult to injury, by the way. Minnesota's getting the ball to start the second half, up 28-3. I don't know. I will be interested to see what happens in Detroit. I know there's been talk about Joey Vu possibly being put up as a trade bait because he does have, I think he has like 96 throw power. So the ability to develop him, it'll be interesting to see what happens this offseason with Detroit because, Sonny, at the Matt Stafford train, it's been off the track a couple of times. We've seen a lot of injuries to the quarterback position for the Detroit Lions. This is nothing new.
No, it's not anything new, and Matthew Stafford is the offense in Detroit. So you have got to have a backup plan. Although, Bill Polian once said that they never really drafted a good backup for Peyton Manning because they don't practice being blanked.
Well, Keith Marshall, the former Detroit Lion, getting the carry there as Dalvin Cook probably isn't going to touch too many carries here in the second half. As they want to keep him as healthy as possible. And as I say that, they bring in Dalvin Cook to make me look silly. As it's going to be a handoff to Cook right up the middle. Give him another 10 yards. Boy, the Lions, you got to know that the rush is coming at this point, and they're not doing anything to stop it. This one is ugly, folks. While we have a moment during this ugly, ugly slaughter, we'd like to give a big shout out to our graphic sponsor, web3ks.com. They do that overlay you see here on NBL Live. A ton of other graphics for all of our original programming, which, by the way, you can catch on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Madden Bomber League. As Dalvin Cook.
50 burger coming. 50 burger, folks.
Is this the worst game in the Lions? But hold on. Go to web3ks.com. They're the leaders in affordable graphic design. Is this the worst game in the history of the Detroit Lions?
It could be, and it's a little bit embarrassing because this is now going to be the third straight game the Minnesota Vikings have beaten the Lions. So you kind of got to start thinking that the Vikings may have the Lions number.
I mean, I'll be honest, the way that the Lions have been playing this team, there are a lot of teams that I think would have the Lions number tonight as nothing has gone the way of the Lions. And, well, 35-3 Hall. What do you tell your team on the sideline at this point, Sonny? I mean, is there anything to say other than try not to get hurt and let's get out of here?
You're all walking back to Detroit.
I think that's just to Brad Kaya. I think that is solely to Brad Kaya. 1st and 10 for Joey Vu in the Detroit Lions. Vu drops back to pass on 1st and 10. Looks over to the C route, throws a pick right to Xavier Woods. And that was actually, it was an overthrow, no doubt. But Xavier Woods with a beautiful play. And I think we may be seeing...
We're getting the punter. They're going to put the punter in.
Yeah, I think we're just getting a bunch of subs here. Looking at the Vikings schedule, they have 3 losses on the season. One to the Packers by 4. They lost... No, okay, correction. The Lions did beat the Vikings in week 2, 33-19.
Oh, okay.
That would be 3 of 4. So they lost. They started out 0-3. Let's not forget that. They lost to the Saints, the Lions, and the Packers to start the season. And since then, they've raveled up 5 straight wins, what will soon be 6 in this one. Yeah, Teddy time here in Minnesota. Porter saying DC. Well, I think if a DC happens, we'll be questioning the validity of that bad boy. It's the handoff to Keith Marshall up the middle, goes nowhere. Loss of 2 on the play. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 12, folks, and at this point, we're just waiting for this one to be over. But yes, I saw the darkest hour. It was good.
Yeah, I'm curious what my wife's got down there. I have to send her a text while I'm sitting here waiting just to see what I got to look forward to.
I got to play my game after this one, then I got to get dinner because I haven't eaten. 2nd and 12. As we had a mad scramble right before the broadcast, my wife, my loving wife, drove all the way over to our apartment to grab the green screen as Keith Marshall has lots of room up the middle, just falls down at the 29-yard line. No need to run this bad boy up.
5 minutes left in the third, and we are falling down trying not to score.
But my loving wife drove all the way over to our apartment. We just moved into our new house and grabbed my green screen and lighting. Yeah, it worked out. It didn't look like we were going to have it, but shout out to my wife. 1st and 10 Keith Marshall tried the hurdle and put that pigskin on the ground, and I think the Lions are finally going to get a touchdown in this game, as this one's going to be taken. I don't know if it's the taunting probably is not necessary. You're down 32. Settle down there, young fella. But they do get a touchdown. Cut it to 35-9. I don't think this makes it any really. I mean, it does technically make it mathematically closer, Sonny, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think anyone really cares.
Just a little note to Hop. Please feel free to keep scoring if that is what the Lions are going to do.
Yeah, you see that taunt? Put just 50 burger. Yeah,
yep,
Dewey.
Go for the 50 burger. Let's go.
Dewey in the chat. Why he dancing? I just let dance all you want. Pricey saying, ha ha, Bomber coming back. Well, we've seen weird things here on NBL Live. You never know. I do think there was probably a discussion on the sidelines to Keith Marshall that please don't try that hurdle again.
Maybe one more try.
Just for the comedy of it. If you'll excuse me, I'm looking up what broadcast number we're technically on.
172, I believe.
172?
I think I called 171. 171 is, in fact, possibly the greatest game ever played on NBL Live, and you missed it.
I'm very sad. I had no power. I was mid-move. It was the handoff to Keith Marshall up the middle. Gets a couple on the play to the 34-yard line. 6 yards on the play. Yeah, I heard it was a doozy, Sonny. 41-38. The Browns came out on top. Give me the TLDR. What was that game like?
There were a ton of injuries, a ton of turnovers. The Browns pulled away quickly, and Steelers got back into it late and took the lead with just like 30 seconds left. A chuck downfield into traffic that resulted in a pass interference by the Steelers, put the Browns in position with 7 seconds left, and Jameis Winston found Josh Gordon in the end zone for the win, 41-38, and I lost my freaking mind.
Oh, you can check out the archive of that game. You can actually check it out now. Usually we tell you to stick to the end of this game. You can go check it out now. It's on our YouTube, youtube.com/Madden Bomber Leagues. Keith Marshall gets a couple up the middle, up to the 37-yard line, 4 yards on the play. All of our archives, all of our original programming going to be on our YouTube, youtube.com/Madden Bomber League, but we will still broadcast on both channels. All NBL Live, our live programming, will be here on Twitch and over on YouTube, twitch.tv/NBL Network. I appreciate everybody who follows and tunes in to NBL Not Live. As now a 2nd and 5 for the Minnesota Vikings. Bunch formation 3 over to the right. Hearns alone on the left side. Toss play to Keith Marshall. Trying to find some room over there. He'll get a couple to the 34-yard line. 35-10 your score right now. Detroit certainly is still in control in the division. They're still at 7-2. There'll be a game up on Minnesota. But the way that they've been playing, is there a chance that Minnesota is the favorite to win this division?
I think so. I think there's a chance Minnesota comes back, gets in this race, and they win it down this stretch. All depends how long Matthew Stafford's going to miss.
As it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater airing this one out. Looks over to the left side and tried to throw an interception there. Boy, Minnesota doesn't get... I mean, again, it's 35-10. It's a 25-point game. But if Minnesota's not careful, you never know what Joey Vu could do with this offense. As they're going for the long field goal, it is up. It is good to extend it to a 38-10 lead. I'm just pulling up the Lions schedule. Let's see what they got coming up. Do we know how much longer Matt Stafford is out? Is it 6 weeks?
I don't know if it's that much.
He had an 11-week injury. I don't remember how many more he's out. Maybe somebody in the chat can tell me.
Well,
actually, you know what's fun? Actually, I can tell you because I got my third screen up there. I can actually just look. If you see me looking up, it's because my Xbox is on the TV.
Oh yeah, Bomber said till the divisional round of the playoffs. That's what he said. So they may be in some trouble.
Yeah, Stafford that partial ACL tear, another 8 weeks out. Harvey Beckham got 2 weeks out. So he may be able to come back next week from that shoulder tear. I would guess they're probably gonna hold him out the extra week.
Well, with Brad Kai, I'm not sure it really matters.
Right, I don't. Looking at their schedule, toughest games. The Lions still have some meaty games left. As Joey Vu gonna miss another receiver over the middle.
No.
Brad Kai's back in.
Brad Kaya is back. Can't you tell by the overthrow on the seam route?
Yeah. Boy, this is one that's gonna go on the archive of the MBL network, and just gonna pretend this one never happened. This is a bad one. This is a bad one, folks. 3rd and 10 now for Brad Kaya and the Detroit Lions. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. PJ Albury in the backfield. Play action pass, rush coming from the backside. Down goes Kaya, flag down on the play. It's gonna be a hold on Greg Robinson once again, but it's gonna force a 4th down. Here's the tough part about the Lions schedule. If you look forward, they still have 2 games against the Packers. They've yet to play the Packers this year. They've got to play the New Orleans Saints, the Carolina Panthers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their only games left against teams that are under 500. Next week against the Bears, Week 14 against the Buccaneers, and that Panthers team in Week 15, now under new ownership. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that team. But the schedule does not get easier for the Lions.
No, and that Bears game is going to be a tough one. They always play these Lions tough, so watch for that to possibly be a little bit of an upset next week.
1st and 10. Handoff to the fullback, Gates up the middle. The Jag 14 HB18 can't do anything without a quarterback. Deckhead Dog saying, Kaya told the coach, don't put me back in there. 2nd and 6 for the Minnesota Vikings. This is going to be a handoff to Keith Marshall over the right side. Maybe a yard, maybe not. Again, you'll notice the clock is not getting chewed. NBL rules, which the rules for most part, it's usually a good thing, but NBL rules do state you can't kill the clock until under the 2-minute warning. So in this game, it's going to make this one last a little longer. It's pistol formation for Teddy Bridgewater. 3 wide receivers over the right side, 1 over to the left side. 3rd and 6, Bridgewater looking, he looks to the flat. It is complete to Perriman, who leaps over the defender, gets the 1st down at the 34-yard line. Perriman in Minnesota, guy who hasn't gotten a whole lot of attention, but he is still a threat for this offense, especially with Stephon Diggs and the wide receivers they have.
Yeah, Perriman's kind of been an underrated guy here. They got him a couple years back. He's been a guy that's come up big a few times for him. I think he's kind of been phased out a little bit with the emergence of Turner here. Yeah, can I just make a point? I don't want to hear about the 50 burger anymore, because at this point, the Vikings probably could have hung 60 or 65 on this Lions team.
You just don't want to hear about the 50 burger because of your own 50 burger. Let's look at Keith Marshall. Look at him go!
Again,
he falls down. Yeah, falls down. Keith Marshall doing a little bit of an example to the Lions as to why they shouldn't have let him go, as he breaks 4 tackles and gets to the 12-yard line. As I think we're going to mercifully get to the end of the 3rd quarter before this play gets snapped. And then we just got 1 to go, Sonny. That's pretty cool.
Oh, please turn on shoe clock, please.
Did you happen to watch any of the award shows?
I didn't. I just can't get into that stuff. It's all, it's politics, and I don't like it.
Hand off to Davis up the middle. He gets to the 9-yard line. Yeah, my wife likes that stuff. Even she didn't watch it though this year. It's never been my thing. I did absolutely watch the Royal Rumble instead of the Oscars. So good work, me. Or excuse me, instead of the Grammys. 2nd and 7 for the Vikings. They're 9 yards out from yet another touchdown on this Detroit Lions team. Hand off to Davis over the left side. He'll be taken down right at the line of scrimmage. The rushing attack for Minnesota has been good. I mean, the whole reason why they won this game, it's absolutely because of Brad Kaya's inability to keep the ball out of the hands of the defense. But credit to Jack Gerber. He looked good. He had a couple tough throws that he should have made. But the biggest thing is Dalvin Cook goes down on that play on 3rd down, and that could be bad. But Jack Gerber, the big one is he didn't make any mistakes. And Sonny, sometimes just being able to not make mistakes is the key.
Well, it's been key, but Dalvin Cook going down there is no bueno. No bueno. I want a 50 burger, damn it.
41 to 10. Minnesota on top. Detroit's going to get the ball back. Let's see who we have at quarterback. Could be Brad Kaya. Could be Joey Vu. As it's a shoulder tear. Of course it is. So Dalvin Cook will be out for at least a couple of weeks. Are you surprised to see Dalvin Cook still getting carries for the Vikings, up 38 to 10?
No, because sometimes Hop just can't help himself, and yeah, you know. What can you say?
Oh, no, it's hoping you say more. I got nothing. 1st and 10. Shotgun formation for BK Brad Kaya, as he does the smartest thing that he can and hands the ball off to PJ Albury, who gets nothing on the play. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. This Lions rushing attack, which has been better this year, Sonny, did not get going today, but really never had a chance the way this Vikings defense is played.
I'm not going to put any blame on the rushing attack. The offense as a whole got left in Detroit. I'm not sure anybody was really ready to go. It all started with Brad Kaya, but in the end, the offensive line wasn't much of a help either.
2nd and 10. Looks like they're trying to set up a little screen pass over to the right side, and Minnesota snuffed that one out. Brad Kaya's stat line, 4 of 13, 55 yards and 3 interceptions. I am no football expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I could have answered some of those questions on Jeopardy, and I know that that's not a very good stat line. Now 3rd and 13. Let's see what sort of Kaya magic can come out here, folks, as we watch that interception number climb. Bunch formation, 3 over to the right, 1 over to the left side. PJ Albury to the left of Brad Kaya. Blitz coming. Kaya rolling out. Kaya's got some room on the left side. Let's see if he takes it. Tries to take off. He does. And he gets a yard on the play. Taken down by Xavier Woods. 4th and 11. I guess they're going to punt it away. They're just trying to get out of here without too much else happening.
I think you have to try to get out of here without getting anybody else hurt. You are not going to win this game down 31, and really that's a pretty merciful score there.
JY saying technically he's 7 of 13. Just happens that half of them went to the Vikings. Yeah, you don't count those. Those don't count. The team kills don't count in COD, and the interceptions don't count. Well, we're going to have our NBL Live player of the game, Sonny. This actually may be like the first time I just want to give to Brad Kaya because he was the best player out there from Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota's defensive line was really disruptive.
Everything was disruptive. Everything went right for Minnesota. As look at Mike Davis shake off the tackler to get no gain on the play. Maybe half a yard on that one. Going to bring up a 2nd and 10 again. We'll have our NBL Live Player of the Game selection here for broadcast 172 here on the NBL Network. And you can check out all of our Player of the Game archives on our website, 365.maddenbomberleague.com. And if you think you can do better than 41 to 10 here on NBL Live, go ahead and apply for the NBL. That's also on the website at 365.maddenbomberleague.com. Handoff to Mike Davis over the right side. Loss of 1 on the play. Going to bring him a 3rd down, and we're nearing the 3:40 mark here left in the game, and that's good. That means time is actually moving. It has not stood still.
Did that stat line just say the Lions had less than 50 yards of offense in this game?
I absolutely believe that. Oh, it's the monster formation.
That's not the monster formation. You're drunk.
Yeah. I said bring out the monster formation.
I
was mid.
You're trying here. I get it. I need to start drinking. This one's been rough.
It's just water. Settle down. There's no vodka.
No one has said anything about vodka. Why'd you bring up vodka?
Because you're drunk. You're drunk, Sonny. Oh, slurring Sonny here on the NBL Network. The Jag 14 saying LOL Sonny, but he spelled your name like Sunny, like Sunny Day or the wrestler Sunny. So I'm now
like it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, sure. Were you an Always Sunny fan?
Oh, it's great. The night man cometh.
Oh, 1st and 10.
Ooh, maybe you should do a scene from a musical.
No, no, I shouldn't. Absolutely.
It would be entertaining.
Absolutely not. I will shut down the stream right now. Oh, see, that's funny. I was sitting there. I got a Facebook notification on the same screen that I'm capturing. I'm like, why can't you see it? Because it's behind my my big ugly mug. 2nd and 5, handoff.
Oh, nice.
Over the left side. Nothing doing there for PJ Albury. 7 carries, 3 yards. Not the stat line they were hoping from old PJ.
Not at all. And right there, big hole opened up, and just nothing going for PJ Albury.
Boy, you sure run out of things to talk about in a 41-10 game. So, yeah. Appreciate it.
How about that AFC? Your game tonight's kind of big because everybody's just crammed in there. You know, like 10 teams all with the same record.
Yeah. It's I am immediately regretting playing the AFC. I'm also regretting is the pass over the middle, looking for looks like Gronk comes down with the catch. Brad Kaya found somebody on his own team. Good for him. Or excuse me, that was Cooper with the catch. Yeah. The AFC, it's tough. It is tough. As I look at the standings, I feel sad. The Chargers still undefeated. Only undefeated team left in the NBL as the 49ers finally went down. But how impressive has that 49ers team been?
Hey, I was calling it I was about
just
a year and a half early on them, you know. But I saw a lot of potential in them, and I think they're going to be a force to reckon with out there in the NFC West for a while.
And no doubt their loss to the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are another team that is very impressive, and that is by far not a bad loss for the 49ers. They've just had a real nice rushing attack with Kareem Hunt averaging 6.4 carry, and Arsenio Sapp, I know he's injured for a couple of games. Alleman came in and played well. But settling that quarterback position in San Francisco has been huge for them. But it's really been the rushing attack with Kareem Hunt coming over to San Francisco. He has been huge as Brad Kaya tries to cry at the crowd. That doesn't work. No bueno. As they mercifully just killing the clock here with 1:20 to go. Brad Kaya dropping back to pass here on 2nd and 13. Looks over to the left side and completes a pass to Golden Tate. That's back-to-back completions for old BK.
Yeah, I smell an interception coming here. And I hope Minnesota returns this one for 6 when they do pick it off.
Yeah, you look in the AFC, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams at above 500. 11 teams at 5-4 or better. That's tough. That is tough. Then you look in the NFC and it's the whole opposite story. As those divisions look much better. It's 1st and 10 here for Brad Kaya as he steps up in the pocket looking. He takes off. He stays in bounds, takes a hit. 33 seconds left. Hey, get in the chat who you think should be an NBA Live Player of the Game, because not just because I want to hear from you guys, but also because I need an idea.
Yeah, anything, guys. Anything. Start throwing out names. We'll accept anything.
Doesn't even have to be in the game. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Well, Detroit just looking for mercy points, trying to make this one a little more respectable. 4 wide receivers, 2 to each side. Cooper in the slot, 33 seconds to go as Brad Kaya changing up the play as he surveys the defense. He drops back to pass here on 1st and 10. Rush right up the middle. It is caught. Flag down on the play.
Third penalty.
Hey, Greg Robinson having a rough game. That whole offensive line having a rough game. They have not helped out Brad Kaya at all. And in fairness, Brad Kaya hasn't helped them out at all. So maybe it's like retribution. I'll be interested to see how long Dalvin Cook is out, though. That one could be big for the Vikings. As Detroit's going to line up in what is called the victory formation. Not today. Not so much victory for the Lions. As this one will be over. I'm just going to flip straight to the player of the game screen. We don't need to be here longer than we do. NBL Live Player of the Game selection for Broadcast 172. JY saying the Vikings kicker. Deca saying Greg Robinson walking back to Detroit. Thoughts on a player of the game for anybody? Deca.
Michael Kendricks had a nice interception. He was stuffing the run game pretty well. I mean, if I had to take someone, I think the Vikings defense has to be in this discussion because it's really been them. So maybe Michael Kendricks.
Sure, why not? Michael Kendricks. He had the pick. He had one of the interceptions that was sort of the nail in the coffin interceptions for this team. So we'll give it to Kendricks. He'll be your pick for NBA Live Player of the Game here for broadcast number 172. Again, you can check out all of the Player of the Game archives on our website, 365.maddenbomberleague.com under the NBA Live tab. You can check it back all the way back to broadcast numero uno. It's a cool look back at NBL history. This one will not be fondly looked upon if you're a Lions fan. This one will not be fondly looked upon if you're looking for an entertaining game. So go check out that. Just watch that Steelers-Browns game. Just watch that one. That one's a good one. No NBL Live next week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Let's see who we got. Who we got coming up after that? We can see the Lions again. Jaguars and Lions.
Not with Brad Kaya, we're not. They're getting removed.
Again, as we get down to the end of the season, folks, it says week 15 to 17, but we do flex out games all the time, bringing you the best matchups here on the NBL Network. So just stay tuned on our Twitter at Bomber League. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that follow button on Twitch. We're going to let you get out of here and enjoy the rest of your evening. For my co-host, Sonny, I'm OSU. Your final score once again. The Vikings had a lot of points. The Lions had very little points. Appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Actually, 2 weeks here on NBL Live.